Hello everyone, you're welcome to today's session. I hope that you're fine. We bring you the demo session from Permatech Code Academy as we promised from the previous session that was about introduction to programming, theory part of it. I hope that you've been able to look at it and that it was of great help to you and that you learned a lot from it, especially if you're an absolute beginner. I suggest that if you haven't checked on it, please do. It's going to help you get some background information that you need to start coding in C#. So today we are excited to bring you the demo session, and the main purpose for this class is to give you a tour on the Windows Forms Designer. On the screen you see this is the general outlook of Windows Forms Designer. This is Form 1. And if you look again, you see we have quite a number of stuff that's going to be very important to you. You have file here. From the file, you can always start a new project. You can always be able to add an existing project from here. You can always start a live share session. You can close, you can save, you can even check your account settings from the file. Okay, you have edit, you have view. On the view, we are going to look at it quite in detail because we are going to need some stuff. Like for today, we are going to need the toolbox. But before then, please take note of Solution Explorer. Solution Explorer, this one, if you click on it, it appears on the right. This one, for example, it gives you the name of our project. I named this project Common Controls Part 1 because we're going just to look at the common controls that you need as a developer. This is Part 1. Part 2 is coming. So this name here, you just give it like a descriptive name of your project. It's upon you as a developer to choose which name that you want to give to your project. Now, also on the Solution Explorer, you have all the files that you need for your project. If you are going to have unit testing for your project, again, you add it, you have it here, but under Solution. Then, the next thing that you may want to look at from the view is Team Explorer. If you're working as a team and you have something like Git, this is where you have to take note of. Of course, this one is an advanced one. We're going to look at it later when I show you how to build a collaborative project on Git, how to commit your changes, how to pull them, how to work on your branch and all that. This is the place to be, Team Explorer. Also here you have Server Explorer. Server Explorer is very important to you as a developer because this is where you add database connections to your app or remove database connections just in case that you need to have a database backup, of which that is the case in most of the apps. You need to have a database. For example, if you're collecting information about your users and you want to store it, where do you store it? You store it in a database. So on the Server Explorer, this is where you add connections to the database or you remove connections. Also, you browse computer on a network from here. Okay, the next one that is important here for us is Toolbox. What is a toolbox? Toolbox has all the controls that are available to you as a developer. It gives you controls that you're gonna need to make your app. For example, if you're building a house, there are those tools that you need to build that house up. Here, we are going to build an app, and an app needs some controls or some tools that we need. This is our place to be, Toolbox. So when you click on it, you are going to see a lot of tools are going to come up, or the controls. Let's call them controls. I'm going to show you that in a moment. Now, something important for you to notice that this form 1 here, you can resize it to the size that you want. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, whichever size that you want. It just depends on what app you want. So here is where we are designing our app. Let's just give it a reasonable size. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Okay, now let's start off. Let's look at the basic controls that we need to build our app. We said that we get that from the toolbox. When you click on the toolbox, you see we have quite a number of controls that just appeared on the left side. You have buttons, you have combo box, you have date time picker to display date to the user. You have group box to group your controls. You have labels, you have panel, you have picture box, you have progress bar, you have quite a lot of them. They are quite a lot. Just have a look at it. We have quite a number of them. You would need maybe time to look one by one for you, at least to understand what they're all about. For now, let's just get the simple basic ones. Let's start with one that is very common, the button. And as you can see, we have a lot of them. So the easiest way to do it, to get a control, just make use of the search toolbox app there. Just type it out. You want the button. When you type it, it comes out automatically. And then one good thing with Windows Forms interface, this designer part of it, is that when it gives you the controls, the only thing that you want to do, now you see it's very empty. You just need to get hold of the control, then you drag the control, and then you drop it on the form. And there you go, you have it. So let me just have this one button here. Then I can place it wherever I want it to be. I can place it at the bottom. I can have it at the top. I can have it at the center. It's upon you to know where you want to place your button when you are designing your app. Now, for the button, what is a button? In the simplest form, in the simplest terms, what is a button? What is it meant for? And what do we need a button in our app? Now, a button, it's a very important control. We use the button to perform an action on data entered on a dialog. For example, if the user has entered some data that we want to perform an action on, we use a button. To bring you closer home, if you have an app that is calculating, like summing up to numbers A and B, then you want a sum of those two numbers. When you enter A, like let's say A is 2 and B is like 4. When you enter 4 and 2, to sum them up, you need a button. Maybe you call it calculate button. When you click on button, it should give you the sum. It should do the calculation and then give you the sum of the two numbers. So, in simple terms, a button is used to perform an action on data when you click it, because it has a click event. Something that's important for a button that we may want to know, or basically for all the controls, is something that we call properties. Control properties. Now, what are control properties? Control properties are used to manipulate the behavior of the control. For example, this button as it is now, maybe I want it to be the user to submit some information through the button. But as it is now, it's just written button 1. So how will my user know that I want them to submit some information using button 1? For now, it's not even descriptive. The user cannot even know what am I supposed to do with this button. The best thing that you can do now, that's where the properties of the controls come in. You need to click on the button and access the properties of the button. Right click, and then here you have view code. Okay, you use view code when you have some code already. Basically all the buttons, if you have some code behind the button, you just have to click here and then it takes you to the code. But for now, we will get into viewing code when we start writing the code. For today, I want you to get familiar with just the basic controls. What are their names and what are they used for? That's the business for today. Just to get you familiar with the controls that you're gonna need to build your app. Now, for the button, you can always copy, you can delete, you can cut, but for now I want you just to know the properties of the button. When I clicked on the properties, this window appeared on the right. Okay, I said that my button, I needed to help the user, maybe after they enter the information, to submit it. So change this text property here. You see, text property of the button, it's called button 1. I want to give it a different name like submit. That one changes the text property of the button. I can just make my button a little bit bigger. You see, yeah, it's a bit bigger now. And then what if I want my text to be white? I can use the font color here. It's also a property of the button text. You click on it, you have all the beautiful colors you can ever think of. We have quite a lot. I don't know which one is the favorite here. Okay, let me go to custom and then I use this color. My text changed to blue. Okay, what if I want my text to be white? I just use font color property and I have it as white. Yeah, I have it here. It didn't change. Let me change here. Okay, it changed to white, but then you can see it. The best thing that you can do, because the text is white, please make the background property of the button to be of a different color. Third one, you use another property of the button called back color. Where do you have back color property? It's here. So you come here, you look for a different color for the back of the button, you give it that color, teal. Yeah, teal is a nice color. All right, for now, just note that you can change the appearance of the button, the behavior, and quite a lot of properties using this properties panel that has even the data, the design, the back color, and quite a lot of things here you can do to change the behavior of your button. For example, the design is like the name. This name is the one that maybe you would use it when you are writing your code, like you give it a descriptive name, but we will look into that later on. For now, just note that the properties, you can always change the behavior of your control using properties. And it's not just button alone, all the other controls here, they have this property. Now let's go to the next control. Let's check at another one called label. It's very common. We have label there, and if you look here, you also have a link label. Okay, for the label, we can always change their properties, but then let's first know what is a label and what is it meant for. A label is mostly used for purposes when you as a developer want to provide some information or some explanation to the user. For example, let's say that you want to tell the user, please enter your details here, or please submit your details here. You use a label. Now, just like the button and all the other controls, a label also has properties. So instead of calling it label 1, just give it a better text property like please submit your details here. below. Yeah, you see. But for now you can't see the text because the text is white. So what do? Just change the back color of the appearance, back color of your label to maybe a better color like that one. Yeah, you see. Yeah, you have it there. So it's just giving the user some information. You're just telling a user some information that maybe you want them to know about, or an action that they should be able to take. You just use a label. Now if you look at the text in both the button and the label, it's like too small, it's like not very visible. So the best thing that you can also do, you can change the text property of your controls by using the font here. You can change that font maybe to a bigger font. Let's look for Montserrat. Montserrat is a good one. Yeah. Oh, I just saw Montserrat. Yes, it's here. Give it a bold font style. Then for the size, maybe let's give it 14. And then something else, that if you want to change to have some effects on your font, you can always maybe strike it out. If you check this, it's going to strike it out. Like here, you see, sample, it struck it out. Or underline, you see, it underlined. But for us, we just don't want to strike it out. We don't want to underline anything. We just want to have a plain text. So then when you click OK, you apply it. You see, the text changed. Let's also do the same for the label, because it also looks very small. You access the font property. Just to be consistent, let's give it Montserrat bold 14, and then let's say okay. Yeah, there you go. It looks far much better. But I just realized that I wrote, please submit your details below. It should be below. So if you have a typo error, always come here to the text and correct it. And then we have a nice label. Okay, something else that is very close to a label that I want to point out is this one, link label. And just like the rest, the link label, you can always change the properties here like the rest. Let's also give it maybe a bigger font like the rest. Okay, yeah, okay, yeah, now more visible. What is a link label? A link label is not like a standard label, because a link label, it has a link. You use it when you want to allow the user to click it and maybe to navigate to a different page, maybe to go to a web page. You use a link label. And of importance to note is that a link label always have an extra code behind it. So we will look and see it maybe in action when we start the actual coding. For now, as I said, I just want you to get familiar with the tools that you need to build up an app. Okay, let's go to the next one. There is another important control that is called TextBox. As usual, we search it here, we drag it and we drop it. And if you see here, you see another one called maybe RichTextBox, Mask TextBox, and all this. We will look at them. But for now, a text box is a very common control. And as the name suggests, a text box is a control that allows you as a developer to have the user enter text or numbers. When you want to collect some information from the user, when you want the user to enter some information in form of a text or numbers, use text box. But please note that the name of the, for example, the name of the user, you want maybe to get information about their age, maybe information about their marital status, or any kind of information that you want to collect from the user, allow them to enter it through text box. Okay, something else about text box is that the primary use of a text box is to enter texts. But also you can enter another kind of character or data type, because you can always convert it. But you will need a conversion class and all that, maybe to convert it to integer, convert it to double and all that. But we will look at that again later when we start the actual implementation. For now, please just know what is a text box and what it is all about. Okay, just like the rest, a text box has got properties. For example, here I can expand my text box horizontally, but you see I cannot even have it vertically. Now, for you maybe to change that and maybe to enter a lot of information on your text box, if you look here, you can always change this to outline, or you can access that property through the properties here of the text box, and then you change the outline property of the text box to true, because normally it's usually false. That's why you cannot make it vertically. So just come here and change from false to true. So when you change it to true, what happens? You can always make it bigger and bigger, you see. So now you can enter a lot of information on your text box. For example, if you wanted to get a lot of information from your user, or they can type maybe a lot, like more than one line, just make this text box like a little bit bigger. Just set a outline to true, because normally it's usually to false. You see here we checked it. If you get it false, it goes back to one line. You make it, it goes. Okay, yeah, that's important with text box, and all the other properties that you can ever want to change for your text box. All right, now we have rich text box, which is also different. This one is quite different from text box. You can edit text lines and all that, but this one is not rich. We take it in simple terms, it's not rich, but here it's a rich text box. This is text box, a rich text box. With rich text box, you can always edit text lines. You can always make it bigger. You can enlarge it as much as you want, yeah. And this one, we said that we can always make it bigger, but then you have to change it to outline or reduce it like this. So let's have this one here. Let's have this one here, quite close to each other. Okay. Another thing that maybe I should mention is that your form, we said that you can always make it bigger. Let's just enlarge it a little bit for the next controls. Let's look to the next one, is called radio buttons. Radio button is very important. Let's just drag and drop it. We drag and drop it, and as it now, you cannot see because our text is white. So let's just change the back color of the radio button from white to teal, so that you can be able to see the text. Now it's teal, yeah, you can see it's radio button 1. Change it here to teal again, it's radio button 1, yeah. Now perfect, that's good. Okay, so what is a radio button? Now a radio button is used as a label, but it has a dot on the left of it. You see, this is the dot on the left of it. Now, what is it for? It's meant to give the user a choice between several mutual exclusive events or options. When you have exclusive options for the user to choose from, when you want to present a user with a lot of options, but they can only choose one, please use radio button. For example, suppose you want to collect information from the user, maybe that about their gender. You have only male and female, those are two. They can only choose one, not two of them. You use radio button. So let's have a label here, maybe to describe the user what the radio buttons are. Change the text property of your label to maybe choose your gender. choose gender below. Okay, you can see the text. So let's do the usual. Let's change the back color of our label. Here we go. Yes, make it consistent like this one because this is the color we have. Okay, again, try to make sure that your fonts are the same for all your labels. You have to change like everything to be uniform, because how will it look like? We didn't increase the font, the font size here. Yeah, now it's something reasonable. It looks good to the eye of the user. All right, also try to align this to be aligned. You see the purple line, the horizontal purple line and the vertical two lines. It shows that they are well aligned. The good thing with Windows Forms Designer, you can always know when you go wrong. It gives you all the tips that you need to know. Even when you are coding, it gives you all the errors that you are making. So it's a very easy thing to learn. As we said, it's very easy language to learn now. What are the radio buttons for? We said they can be used when you want to offer the user mutually exclusive events or options. So, how can the user know that this is meant to make them choose their gender? Do this. Just click on the radio button and change the text property from radio button 1 to something that's good enough, or something that can make the user know what it is for. So let's get the text property. It's here. Let's call it male. So now the user can know that they are supposed to choose from that one, and also try to make the font better. All right, let's change that. Okay, let's go for Microsoft Sans Serif bold. No, let's just have regular and maybe make it 10. And okay, because it's not a heading. Yeah, that's better. All right, the second one, let's give it female. Always change the text property to female. Third one, and then the user can know. Just like the male, please make sure that you're consistent with the fonts. We had it Microsoft Sans Serif regular, and size is 10 and fine. Okay, yeah, you see now, that's better off. That's the use of radio buttons. You have mutually exclusive options or events for the user. They can't choose two, they can only choose one. All right, we will see it in details as we go on into the actual coding. For now, as I said, please just get to know what the name of the controls they are uses and all that. All right, let's go to the next one. A very interesting control called checkbox. All right, drag, drop, get hold of it, drag it, drop. How many checkbox do we need? Let's maybe use 4 of them, or even 5. How many? 5. Let's use 5 because these one are quite different from radio button. Then let me use a label again to describe to the user what are they for. All right, so what are checkboxes? Just like radio buttons, checkboxes displays a label with a check mark on the left of it. I know it's not very visible because of our text is white, but I just want us to maybe to have white text. But for us to see the text, we should always make sure that our back color is not very transparent. Let's just give it teal color for us to be able to see. And also, if you check the rest of the controls, like the button, radio button, it has teal color. So let's also be consistent with it. We give it this color. That's teal. This is it. Yeah, you have the 5 of them. You have the 5 of them. Now, those are checkboxes. Ha! I know here you have a label. I know you can see it. But for us to be able to see it, definitely you can see it if you change your fore color. It's just because our fore color is white. It doesn't have to be white. You can always have it as black, okay? Yeah, you can always have it as black. But because the other labels, they have white text and not a transparent back color, it's always good to be consistent. So let's just give our label the color that the other labels has. Back color is different, it's not transparent, it's this color here. Yeah, all right. This label here, I just want to repeat, it's meant to give the user some information. Like, what are these checkboxes? What are they meant for? What do they mean to the user? For example, suppose you want the user to choose maybe from a list of fruits, their favorite fruits that they like. They can like more than one fruit, 2 fruits, 3 or 4. So when you want a user to select from multiple choices and give more than one choice, go for checkbox. So let's just change the property of this label, like please indicate your favorite color of fruits, not colors but fruits. Please indicate your favorite fruits. And you see it looks funny. Let's just make it like the rest here. We give the text some nice property like the rest. It's Montserrat bold 14. Okay, see, it's looking nice. And for it to fit here, we must align it as always. So we can either pull it like this and we make our form bigger, or we can pull it to the left and make our form smaller. But for the sake of aligning it well, let's just make it the form a little bit bigger and then we align it. All right, now the next thing that we need to know is that we need to give the checkboxes some good names that shows that the user is supposed to choose fruits. If they indicate checkbox 1, what is that fruit? There is no fruit called checkbox 1, 2 and all that. So let's get the text property of the checkbox and call it maybe what? Mango. Yeah, mango. Then the next one, let's call it pear. Pear is a nice fruit. Yeah. The next one, we call it apple. Apple fruit. The next one, let's say it's what? Banana. Yeah, banana. Yeah, and the next one we have what? Which other fruit can we have here? Mandarin. Yeah, mandarin. Yep, it's a nice fruit as well. All right, now you see here we have mango, pear. The user can like mango, they can maybe like apple, they can like banana and all that. So that gives the user the ability to choose from more than one. But for radio button, they can only choose one of them. And because this one we had font size of 10, let's also make sure that for the check boxes we have the same font size, just to be consistent. 10. Okay, you see it's getting better now. We change here as well. 10. All right, let's make it the same because we want our app to have a good outlook. 10. All right. Alternatively, you can select all the 4 controls or the 5 controls and change it. All right. So I think now we have maybe a clear picture and difference between radio button and checkbox, rich text box button, and labels. Now, something else that maybe I want to point out is this form 1. You see, it's like the big container. It also has properties just like the controls. So, what if you don't want to call it form 1? What if you want to call it basic controls? You just come to, you see here, you have the properties for form 1. Just come to the text control and call it basic controls part 1. All right, you say okay, and here it changes to basic controls part 1. That's the name of your projects. All right, now the next thing that maybe I want to show you is that how do you run your app? You come here to the start here, you just click on start, and then your app runs. You are going to see that in a moment. It's like you load your app, you start it, it's running. You can see from the output here it's build started. Yeah, if it has errors it won't build, but when it has no errors it automatically builds. So you see now when you start your app, this is what you see. This is the user interface now. This is the graphical user interface. Very simple graphical user interface. You can see? Yeah, very simple graphical user interface. We said that for the radio button, you can only select what? 1. Check what happens if I choose male. You cannot choose female at the same time. If you check the first one, the second one is automatically unchecked. So if I want to choose female, I can only check female. These are mutual exclusive options. You can only choose one. Go for radio button. All right. What if I like how many fruits? 3 of them. I can choose 1 mango, apple, and mandarin. You see? Checking one does not uncheck the rest. So you can check several. That's why you go for checkbox. This is my button. Suppose I want to enter my name. I want to what's my name? Let's say Permatech Code Academy. You see, this is a text box. I can enter a lot of, I can use the text box to collect some information from the user. Same to rich text box. This link is not working for now because we have no code behind it. The button as well is not working because we have no information that we can submit. If we submit it, we get an error. So that's it. Please submit your details. This is a label just giving you some information as a user. What are you supposed to do? Indicate your favorite fruits. What are you supposed to do? So to conclude this today's session, I just wanted to make you familiar with Windows Forms Designer controls part 1. We have looked at labels, link label, button, text box, rich text box, radio buttons, and checkboxes. Now, I want to stop my app. I just stop it and I come back here. And that's it. So, I hope that you enjoyed this lecture. I hope that you liked it. I hope that you understood it very well. In case you have questions, please be free to send your queries on the comment section below. If you have any feedback, please also don't hesitate to give it up to us, and let us know if there is anything that you want us maybe to teach. Let us know, we will handle that. Thank you very much. I also request that you subscribe to our channel, and also if you can also help us to get maybe more feedback from what you see, let us know, we will work on it. Thank you very much. Enjoy, and please watch out to the next video. We are going to look at part 2 of basic controls, and it's gonna be fine and fine as we go on. By the time we start the actual coding, you will have known like the basic things that you need to know to build a good app. Thank you very much. Bye, and see you next time.